If it's Thursday during the football season, then it's time for On Guard with our buddy, Jets guard Willie Colon, who joins us each and every week throughout the NFL season from the team's facility in Florham Park. And Willie, let's start with discipline for the Jets. With obviously there's a timeout from Sheldon Richardson on the sideline. Muhammad Wilkerson gets thrown out. There's a 12-man on the field penalty, which negated an interception last week. So there were a lot of things that came up last week. In your mind, is discipline an issue for this team?
No, not at all. I think, hey, I'm the last one that throws stones about getting ejected out of the game. Sometimes your temper gets the best of you. Muhammad Wilkerson is our leader. We trust him. We believe in him. He apologized for his actions, and we're going to move on from it. As far as the timeout, it is what it is. We understand that Rex is the only person that's allowed to call a timeout, and we learn from it.
It's interesting, though, Will. What were you thinking? You're on the field as this is going down. You obviously thought you had a game-tying touchdown pass there to Curley from Geno. What was the thought process when you said, what, timeout? What were you thinking at that point?
Well, I knew something had happened because, when J.K. called the ball, nobody celebrated. And then we were all kind of looking at each other to see what was going on, and we found out that somebody had called the timeout. I wasn't aware at the time who called the timeout. But it was just one of those weird things, and it happened at a very untimely manner.
One of the other things that was untimely in that game was Eric Decker left the game because of an injury, and the offense really seemed to be very affected by his absence. Can this offense function as well if Decker either doesn't play or is not really healthy?
Yeah, obviously losing Decker is huge. There's no hiding that, but we got a lot of faith in Greg Salas. We understand that he's he's the next man in line. We know he can get the job done, and we're looking for big things from him.
One thing about the game last week that I think kind of went under the radar a little bit, Willie, was the running game was not what you thought it would be. I know the numbers showed 146 yards rushing, but you had that run with Curley on that option for about 40 yards. Geno had some runs. What was the problem? Really, Chris Johnson and Chris Ivory really never got off in this game last week. How about that?
Well, I didn't think we ran the ball bad. I think we just wasn't oiled up as we usually are as far as, assignment-wise and details. There's things that we kind of left out there. I think we understand that we should have had a better performance. But nevertheless, we did have 146 yards. We understand we got two great backs. We got to get them going, and we just wasn't as consistent as we normally are. But nevertheless, we plan on doing better come Monday night.
All right, speaking of Monday night, Chicago reunited, and I don't know if it feels so good with Santonio Holmes or not. We'll have to find out. A lot's been said about his time here. In your mind, was he a bad teammate?
Well, I know Santonio. Me and him was drafted together when we got drafted to Pittsburgh. I've always respected his craft. I've always respected his big-time ability. I won a Super Bowl with him when I came to New York. He already had his rapport with a lot of guys. I respect him. I still respect him as a guy, and he's gone. He's no longer a Jet, and we wish him the best of luck.
But was his attitude as bad as we've heard? Was he that disruptive in that locker room?
I'm gonna leave that to be unsaid. Nevertheless, he's a unique individual. I love the guy. I think he is what he is, and right now he's not a Jet, and all I could focus on is my teammates.
Willie, obviously a brutal loss last week, but now you got two home games coming up before you go on a stretch with all these, future Hall of Fame quarterbacks you're going to go up against.
Right.
How big are these two games against the Bears and the Lions at home? Do you look at these two games really as games, we really got to have both of these games?
Well, we got to have it because we came away from a tough loss, and we got such a long week. We're the last game of this week's stretch, and Green Bay has left a nasty taste in our mouth, and we're home, and we just got to have it. Every game we're allowed to play, we got to have it. So, we got a tough stretch, but at the end of the day, all we're focused on is Chicago.